I'm so sorry about the clicker. It's normally in this room. Sit here. Hopefully he's able to grab it.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Kyle, and thanks for joining us in our first Better Hamilton Neighborhood Series of 2023. In the first half hour, we're fortunate enough to have Paul Hoover of Kettering Health Hamilton, who's going to talk about some of the exciting things our local hospital is doing for the community. In the second half hour, we will have our 17Strong Advisory Board meeting, in which we'll hear from all of our committees and build on that momentum that we had from our wonderful celebration breakfast. We would love for you to stay for our advisory board meeting. We really like to open this up to the public. We also understand that your time is valuable if you need to leave after Paul presents. So before... Or during, yeah. You can leave right now. I'm not really starting off that well. I kid. So I would like to get with the show. I'd like to call up Paul Hoover, who's president of Kettering Health Hamilton, and we're excited to have him talk about some of the dealings in the healthcare world.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to see you all. I see some familiar faces, and hopefully some of you online, thanks for joining and tuning in, or if nothing else, it's just my mom. So thank you so much for being here. But more importantly, thank you for the active interest with which you engage here in Hamilton. The work that you do on safety is so important. The work that you do in engagement and the work that you do to make Hamilton a better community is something that I am truly proud to be a part of. My name is Paul Hoover. I serve as the president at Kettering Health Hamilton. In case you're wondering, we're just right across the road over here and have been in Hamilton a number of years. I've got some slides, but if you have questions, comments, pot shots, or concerns, you just let me have it. How's that sound, all right? Sounds good. So I want to share with you a video that we shared with our patients, and I think it sets the tenor with which I and the entire team at Hamilton shows up. And so we'll see if we can get that to play. Greetings, Kettering Health Hamilton family. I recently received a note from a family member of a patient that we cared for, and it so touched me in a time in my life when I needed to be reminded of my true calling. So I wanted to take a few moments to share it with you. The quote from the patient reads as follows: "I am filling this out for my deceased husband. Our nurse Friday night was wonderful, caring, and kind. She was a triage nurse when we had to go to the back on July 31st. I would specifically like to praise Dr. Glenn Burns for his incredible care. My son-in-law is a surgeon out of state, and Dr. Burns happily agreed to explain and share medical advice with him. That meant so much to our family. My son-in-law assured me that we were in good hands after the conversation, and he gently told me that my husband was much sicker than we knew. He not only took care of my husband, he also took care of me. I was by myself, and Fort Hamilton is lucky to have him as part of their team." When these comments were shared with Dr. Burns, he humbly replied, "There are times when a person should never be alone. It's just human decency. This job is an amazing privilege, and sometimes we take it for granted. I hope that you never forget the incredible opportunity each of you has every single day. The opportunity to share in grief, to comfort a widow, and to come alongside and to be the hands and feet of Jesus. This is a sacred and the most noble of callings. Thank you again for answering that call and for all that you do to make Kettering Health Hamilton a truly wonderful and special place. So I don't know about you, but when I received that letter, it really spoke to the sacred work with which we are entrusted. I know that nobody comes to the hospital for fun except maybe when kids are being born, but I can tell you as a parent of 3 that it is a terrifying time, and I'm still waiting for the instruction manual. But it's one in which our physicians and staff are committed to your health and well-being. So I'll tell you just a little bit, there we go, just about who Kettering Health Network is, and then we'll get into kind of some of the nuts and bolts of Kettering Health Hamilton. 13 hospitals, 120 locations all across Dayton and Southwest Ohio, and we are the southernmost outpost right here in Hamilton, Ohio, and we are proud to be here. So just let me share with you just a few of these numbers, and I don't know about you, but numbers kind of glaze over for me, and so to put things in perspective, these are just some of the volumes from 2022, but what are these 2 locations? This is the interactive portion, so sorry if the...
Paul Brown and
yeah.
Great American.
Yeah, Paul Brown, so sorry for the little salty for the loss the other day, but the Bengals gave us a good run. So anybody know how many people these 2 stadiums hold?
Together, let's say 100.
Yeah, 62 and 40, so about 120,000. That's the number of people that come in contact with our facility each and every year. And it's hard to, to think about that. You look at numbers and you're like, boy, that's just a bunch of people. But each one of those individuals has a spouse, has a loved one, has a grandson named Parker, or they have a family member who they care for. And it is an incredibly humbling and something that we take very serious at Kettering Health Hamilton. This is our NASCAR suit of awards, and I'll just want to draw your attention to one of those, America's 100 Best Hospitals. In healthcare, there are the awards so when I was in high school, I wasn't the best student. I got good grades. Sonia's laughing, she knows this. I got okay grades, so I don't know whether that should give you confidence or whether that should give you concern. But I was excited when I received a letter that I was going to be in the who's who. It was very exciting. So for a mere $350, I could be a part of that. Well, in some respects, yeah. In some respects, there are awards that you either earn or some that you pay for. These are awards that we earn based on our outcomes. You don't opt in or opt out. And so just a couple that I'll draw your attention to. There's about 5,000 acute care hospitals in the U.S. Kettering Health Hamilton, based on outcomes and based on experience of patients and guests, is in the top 100 in the nation. So if and when you show up, you are going to receive world-class medicine right here in your community. You do understand the A rating, as I did. So Kettering Health Hamilton has, I think, eight A's in a row, the longest A rating in Butler County. Again, we all think about quality, but I can tell you that within our industry, Kettering Health Hamilton is a leader in outcomes. We have a variety of service from emergency to cancer to orthopedics, women and children's and heart conditions, really family to those ailments, which as I get older, things start to ache and hurt a little bit more. And while I'm putting off surgery in a couple areas, we can take care of those. We are a level 3 trauma center, and just what that means is that we can take care of really anything that comes in through our doors. We have a full-service cath lab, and so if there's a heart attack, minutes matter, both to the brain and to the heart muscle, and we have some of the best door-to-balloon or door-to-stent times, meaning we can get that blood vessel opened quicker, which means that you have a lower chance of mortality or death, which is a good thing, because we don't want to die, do we? No, I don't. Sonia doesn't. The rest of you are still not sure about this presentation or not. The jokes only get worse. We have a surgical team with this crazy-looking contraption. So just let me share with you what technology allows us to do. there was a 54-year-old woman who had been sleeping in her recliner. She was only able to drink liquids because her heartburn or acid reflux was so bad. She was going to see her cardiologist for what she thought was chest pain, and I kind of am alluding to it. They said, you don't have any issues with your heart, but there's something pushing on your heart. And what had happened was she had a big, what's called a hiatal hernia. And so the stomach and the stuff inside our abdomen was up putting pressure on her heart. So she was having irregular heartbeats, shortness of breath, and then she was unable to live. What a rotten quality of life. The team was able to operate on her. Her surgery was about an hour and 15 minutes long. Traditionally, these surgeries are done with cardiothoracic surgeons, heart doctors, and they're big invasive surgeries. Patients used to stay 7 to 10 days, lots of pain, lots of discomfort, and actually a pretty high 20% mortality rate. She had surgery in an hour and a half, and she went home the next day and was able to resume a normal quality of life. That's what technology allows us to do. So in and of itself, who cares about a robot? But to a lady who was sleeping in a recliner, unable to eat the good foods that we all enjoy, her quality of life was restored in just a short period of time. And this is one of only a few places in our area doing these types of surgeries. We have a robot that does your knee replacement. So that does not mean that it is like your Tesla and it kind of drives you from point A to point B, but it simply provides the safe guardrails that your joint is custom and specific to you. What does that mean? It means when you have a knee replacement, you have less pain, less discomfort, and you have the most accurate precision, the same way that Hamilton Caster, Matandi, or others are able to build things with very tight tolerances. The same tolerances go into your knee. Again, one of only a handful in this entire Cincinnati area. We have a new PET CT where we can see what's going on if there's cancer. We're able to do a LINX procedure. So if you have acid reflux, there's a simple procedure. Again, one of only 3 doctors in Southwest Ohio doing this procedure right here in Hamilton. We have a variety of primary care locations, one Hamilton on Main and Ross. These are 2 of recent ones that we've either renovated or we've expanded and built, and we have an amazing team that can take care of you. And hopefully you never have to come to the hospital because you're seeing your primary care doctor and being taken care of. Kettering Health is the exclusive partner of Kettering Health Hamilton. Actually hasn't even been a press release, so you're the first public group I'm telling. Don't tell marketing. Sorry guys, I had to tell them. But we're the official healthcare provider. We'll have athletic trainers. We're doing a series of events. And so if your kids or loved ones, or David, if you're playing basketball there on the courts, I hope you get a win with your team. Okay. Just a little bit about us, about 930 employees. Annual payroll, that's actually gone up. It's $84 million. Annual payroll tax, 1.1. And just $110 million has been invested since Kettering Health took over. We are committed to Hamilton. Wouldn't be here without the support of our community, and the Fort Hamilton Hospital Foundation has played an integral role in a variety of ways. If you're interested in learning more about ways in which the Hamilton benefits our local community, see Sonia right here. Most of you know Sonia, and we were voted best place to work. We have convenient locations, and we're focusing on continuing to be a top 100 hospital. So let me just share a story from Scott, and then I'm just happy to answer any questions. That's the boring part, and then hopefully we'll get to some fun, juicy stuff, all right?
She said, guess who I get to take care of today?
I knew that God put us together that night and that we would take care of him, and just that I would be there all night. So I know that they couldn't be.
We've been very blessed that the people of Fort Hamilton were led by God to show their love and their heart to my dad at the hardest time possible.
So at Kettering Health Hamilton, we welcome new life, and we hold the hands, and like the Hartford family, when life ebbs away. But it's the way that we treat people and the commitment to our community that will define our success. So with that, that's my formal presentation. Hopefully, Kathy, I didn't bore you too much. Okay. But I'm happy to answer any questions about anything. Just how are we showing up? I'll just kind of start there. How is Kettering Health Hamilton showing up in the community?
I know this isn't a shy group.
Yeah.
I'll just say I've had the fortunate experience to be served at Kettering Hospital over the last month or so, and top notch. I mean, I'm proud to have been born there and proud to have it in the community. Thanks for all that you guys do.
Tuesday you took off my toe.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully you're getting back to feeling better.
Joe Scheidler, your orthopedic.
Yep.
I've been there twice. I broke my leg in the gym and then had to go to the ER this December. It was good. I mean,
I'm aside from-
I was hurt, but
Yeah.
the experience was good.
How long have you been president there, Paul?
I've been at Kettering Health Hamilton about, 13 months right now. I've been with Kettering Health 8 years. So I had 2 roles, but one, I did all of our strategy and planning. So I was the person behind the scenes, you can call it business development, but I would essentially say, where is there demand for services and where is it not being met? So I would look at things like people getting in their car and leaving a community. And I'd say, well, why, our goal is to have somebody within 5 minutes, have you close to a K within 5 minutes. So that was my work for 6 years, and then I did a 1-year stint as Chief Learning Officer. As we were entering COVID, I knew that our limiting resource was going to be people. And so I spent time working on our human performance system, our human capital, and working on our workforce system. Yeah.
I too was born there, and I think that being in Hamilton, it's a small town, and as we've seen the larger medical facilities come about, I know there was a time, not too far back, where people were really concerned we would lose the community hospital.
Yeah.
So it's really good to hear of the innovations, the things that are going on here, that we don't have to venture out, because that's what the word was.
Yeah.
You need to go to Cincinnati or Columbus or Dayton or wherever it would be to get treated.
Yeah.
And so with all that you all have going for you, you should be really proud. And I think too, the community has given back to the hospital.
Yes.
Because it was that important that we keep the hospital here. We need that. We lost the other hospital that we had years ago. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Great to have all that going on. So thanks.
Thank you. What questions do you have for me? What? Yeah.
When not working, does the Da Vinci robot practice art?
When not working, does the Da Vinci practice art? The answer is no. He sits idly by. He just sits in a closet. But I don't know if that's for good or bad behavior.
Somebody or something's got to keep an eye on Brody.
Yeah.
Here's my classmate.
So somebody asked me, does the robot do anything by itself? No. It simply translates human movement into spaces that sometimes the human hands can't get to.
In art.
Yeah. What other questions do you have? It could be about anything.
Why the name change?
Why the name change? So we did a lot of research, which I was a part of many years ago, and folks did not know about who Kettering Health was. So we had, I forget the numbers, 30 or 40 different versions of Kettering, but what people knew was Kettering Health. And so it was bringing a connection to a larger system. That was really the reason for that. There was no reason because nobody knew who Fort Hamilton was connected to, or fill in the blank with the other hospitals, Grandview or Sycamore Medical Center. They were all part of Kettering, but the importance was in the same way that you want the same uniform experience in the same way if you go to a specific restaurant that you frequent. So if we go to Tano's, we know what type of food we're going to get. We just need to get Tano's to have a few more locations, right? No.
Why did Kettering leave its home base in Kettering and start working south at Franklin and Middletown, now down to here?
Yeah, good question. So why did Kettering venture out to other communities? Simply put, we were invited. So in communities in the north, we were specifically asked, we want an option that we can keep care close to home. Folks were having to get in their car and leave. Hamilton was no different. So when the Health Alliance and Fort Hamilton Hospital, they looked at a variety of different partners, and they chose Kettering Health Hamilton because of its faith-based mission and because of its legacy of excellence and quality, and they invited Kettering Health in. So the community, in essence, made that decision. You made a choice, and I think you made the right one, but I'm a little biased. But good question. Yes, sir.
So, Fort Hamilton.
Sure, yeah. We're still we say the Fort family.
My parents, they were physically based over there.
Okay.
So I've been there for that year, though I live in the township.
Mm-hmm.
With all the consolidation that is happening with the big hospitals buying up other health systems, as you mentioned, what precludes you from not being gobbled up by the UCs or the health alliances or the Christs and et cetera?
Yeah, good question. So what precludes Fort Hamilton from being gobbled up? So one, we're part of a larger system, so that's part of the reason. We're I think the 4th or the 5th largest health system here in the state of Ohio. So we're pretty large, but as you know, Hamilton is one hospital, so you're very familiar. But in Dayton, the dominant health system really in Southwest Ohio, north of Cincinnati. So right now we have a strong bond rating. We have a stable outlook from Moody's and Standards & Poor's and Fitch. And so right now we are still experiencing some of the same pressures that we are experiencing in our personal lives. Eggs, what the heck is going on with eggs? But also we're seeing some of those same pressures as well. But right now we've got a solid outlook and a good management team. So we'll see. But right now, our financial situation is one that we don't need to. Typically, health systems look to consolidate for one of two reasons. One, they're unable to be a going concern, or two, there's a strategic advantage for some sort of consolidation or merger.
Just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Mental health is a huge issue, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Are there specific programs or something that you are thinking of identifying or just addressing?
Sure, good question. So question was, I was told to repeat the question, so not that you can't hear me. What are we doing regarding mental health? So we see that front and center every day. We see it in our emergency department and we see it in our primary areas. I'd love to tell you that we're doing more. Right now, that's really a very tough market to be in for a variety of reasons, and it's not one that we are directly involved in, but we are working to partner with those institutions that are providing that service. And if you've got some ideas, I'd love to talk with you. Right now, it's not one that I think our community or society as a whole is really addressing in a way. But unfortunately, you kind of follow the money. And if it's not a sustainable going concern, it's hard for that to be an ongoing issue. But we've embedded counselors in each of our primary care clinics, and so really trying to make that part of the holistic care experience. So rather than just having an individual who does your primary care, but we have those individuals. So we have pharmacy, we have psychological counseling in our primary care practices. So trying to address that at the root cause that most individuals experience, but again, it's not enough as if you in the healthcare industry or if you're out, you see it. Probably not the answer you're looking for, but it's the honest one. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What is Kettering's faith-based mission?
Kettering is sponsored by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It's one that I'll just give you the brief history. The Kettering family, we all know who Charles F. Kettering was, second most prolific inventor behind Thomas Edison. During the polio epidemic, his daughter, Virginia, and his only son, Eugene, wanted to memorialize Charles. And they happened to be in Hinsdale, Chicago during the polio epidemic. And they were completely blown away by the way they saw families and kids being cared for. They saw something that didn't exist at that time in healthcare, which was a holistic care. And so they said, well, we want to know about this group who's running the hospitals. And they said, well, it's the Adventist Church. And they said, well, who are these Adventists? So Colonel Deeds, who was Charles Kettering's late friend who ran NCR, he sent out a telex to all his vice presidents across the nation. And he said, I want to know everything about these Adventists at the next board meeting. So the next board meeting rolls around. And Colonel Deeds stands up. He's quite a colorful character. And he stands up and he says, Charles or Eugene and Virginia want to build this hospital. And they're thinking about the Adventist Church. And he said, I could read each one. He's got a stack of papers. He said, I could read each one of these, Or I could simply say that from across the nation, the Adventist Church is committed to the health and well-being, and there's be no finer organization to run your hospital than the Adventist Church. So the Adventist Church has three main tenets: healthcare, education, and then church ministry, evangelism. And so those are three legs of a stool that the church has been about. And so that's just a little bit about how the Adventist Church, so it's really this innovation and technology combined with whole person faith-based care. So do you have to be a person of faith to work there? Absolutely not. But in the same way that you don't need to be a person of faith to know what love looks like, to know what compassion looks like, to know what inclusivity looks like. We're a place that is welcoming and that we're going to do our absolute best, irrespective of who you are. So in the time of crisis, we are there and we can come alongside and take care of you. Yeah, thanks for the question.
All those words you just used are compassion, inclusivity.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, okay, now we're all starting to feel on the same team here. Sometimes when we have big institutions,
Mhm.
like you guys, we residents of heaven, well, what can we do? How can we help? I think you just identified that common bond that we share.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we residents of Hamilton can do to support? How can we be partners together?
I think tell the story. Tell what's happening in Hamilton. I'm new to Kettering Health Hamilton. I've been with Kettering Health a number of years, but if there's a way that we can show up, if we can partner, so I appreciate the opportunity just to come and share what's going on. I think I've got a paper. That's not there. All right. I was going to say, I'll leave some cards, but I was welcome to follow me on social media and just share what's happening at Kettering Health Hamilton. And if there's a way that we can serve a need, please just let us know. So we're simply about coming alongside and partnering. And we may not have all the answers, but I'm confident that if we come together, just like 17Strong does, we can be better together than we can individually. So.
That's a great ending.
There we go.
Thank you.
Could that have been buttoned up any better? I mean,
That was scripted. I did not rehearse it.
well done. I'd like to thank Paul Hoover and Sonia Crambuel from Fort Hamilton for coming down and sharing what's going on. And I think this is an important conversation that we continue. Thank you both very much.
My pleasure. So I'll leave some cards. I have my cell phone. You can use it. You can give it to your neighbors. You can text me and sign me up for Spectrum or whatever it is. I'll leave some here for y'all.
You got some additional comments?